Hello and welcome to the Best Today podcast. Today, we're talking about something y'all know I love, and that is routine, habits, being clear on who you are. It's just like a ball of stuff that I love all together. So this month, as you know, or maybe you don't, this month on the podcast, we are focused on you. And I say that kind of lightly because every day we're focused on you. But in particular, this month on the podcast, the month of July 2021, although you can listen to this anytime, we are talking about building that foundation of truth about yourself and strengthening your relationship with you. So today, what I want to talk to you about are 3 things that I do, whether it's a routine or a habit that helps me to remain clear on who I am, who I want to become, and what I want. And so these are things that I do every single day. So these aren't things like I try to make space for this once in a while. No, these are things that I do every single day, 365, 7 out of 7. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Go straight into intention, right? But my intention is to show you how simple acts done with consistency can produce a result of being clear on who you are and what you want. Now, let me be clear. As always, when I am telling you things that I do, it is to demonstrate the application of a principle in my life. I teach principles that you can then take and apply to your life. They won't always come out in application looking like mine. Actually, most of the time they won't, because I'm me, you're you. What works for you is what's best for you, and what works for me is what's best for me. I always like to give that caveat because I'll have someone who's like, oh, I did the same 3 things you said to do. And do they work for you? Do they make sense for you? I'm going to share things that I love doing. I don't want you to do something and it feels like pulling teeth at the same time, right? So let's get into it. Let's talk about 3 routines or habits, because they're not all technically routines. They'll make sense when I get to them. But they're 3 things that I do consistently to help me remain clear on who I am and what I want. And of course, why that's so important is because, first of all, we teach planning a routine that's connected to who you are, who you want to become, and what you want. And so we can't help you with the plans and the routines if you don't know what that is, right? You don't have to have the full picture, but you have to be in tune to what do you want at the very least, right? Or what do you don't want? So I want to hear from you. Y'all, I say this every episode, and I don't know if y'all think I'll just be playing or not, but no, I really mean it. So I'm talking to you, like, yes, you, the person who has not left me a message yet. I want to hear from you. What routines and habits do you include in your day, in your life, to help you remain clear on who you are? Leave me a message. Here's how easy it is. Whatever you're listening to me on right now, you can use that thing to go to besttodayguide.com/voice and leave a message. You literally go to that page, press the button, talking to the screen, hit the button, it comes right over to us. Or you can share if you're on Instagram in your stories and just tag us at the Best Today brand, and that will ping us and we will get to hear from you as well. But I love hearing your questions, your responses, your reactions to the episodes. So please leave me a message, y'all. Don't make a sister have to just get up here every Monday, every week, every day and ask y'all to come talk to me. Come talk to me. I'm nice, right? Come talk to me if you saw me walking down the street. So come talk to me here. It's the way that we can have conversations by going to besttodayguide.com/voice. We put in a lot of work to have these tools and resources to connect with you all. So please use them. All right. Now, let's get to the 3 things that I do to help me remain clear on who I am and what I want every single day, in no particular order. Number 1, this one probably comes as no surprise to those of you who've been around for a while, but I do the Best Today morning practice. If you're not familiar with the Best Today morning practice in our Best Today guide, it's the 3rd step in our Best Today practice, which comes inside of our product, the Best Today guide. There's a whole episode about the Best Today guide, episode 2, which we'll link in the show notes, which is going to be at besttodayguide.com/20. But the 3-step process, we also have a YouTube channel, I'll put that out there, where you can see inside the Best Today guide and see there's a video of me walking and actually filling out each step of the process. But our Best Today guide is our paper product. It is a 14-week undated guide that helps you to be intentional with your days. And again, it connects back to who you are and what you want. It's not just a place to dump a list of to-dos. We ain't doing that. There's enough of that out on the market, and it's not working for majority of the humans on the planet. So that's why we created the Best Today guide. But each morning in the Best Today guide, there's a page to complete 4 things on the same page. I'm looking at mine from this morning as we speak. And the first thing is, what does my best look like today? What are the self-destructive things that I do that I need to avoid today? That's the second thing. My vision for the future. And then one thing I'm doing today that progresses me toward my vision for the future. So every morning I have to intentionally slow down because I get really excited about this. For obvious reasons, I created this. It means a lot to me, and I know it means a lot to many of the women who are listening and many of the people who are listening, because we do have men who use the Best Today guide as well. Every morning, I do this morning practice as a part of my morning routine. So it's one of the things that are a part of my morning routine, 7 days a week, weekdays, holidays, all the days, right? Leap year, all of them. And I sit and I give myself the space and the time to look over on the page that's next to it, which is my plan for the day. And I look at that and say, based on the fact that this is what lies ahead for me today, this is what I have listed out to do today, what does my best look like in this day? I remind myself of the self-destructive habits that I need to avoid, or the things that I do that are not going to help me in that day, right? And what I love about it is it's sitting right next to your day, because when you open the Best Today guide, on the left is your day that you planned the night before or the day before. And then on the right, you have that morning practice. And that's very intentional. I wanted them to be side by side for that very reason. And so I, for example, can say, Shantae, there's no need to worry today. We not going to do that. We not doing that. Shantae, we not getting dinner on that table late today because we have an early rise tomorrow, and dinner starts the evening off in your house. And if it falls behind, it will have a negative ripple effect for the rest of the evening. So I'm like literally talking to myself in this section, right? I'm like, this what we not gonna do. Here's what we not gonna do, Shantae. Here's what we gonna do with our best. Like, this is what your best is looking like. We trying to bring our best. And here's the thing. I want to bring my best and nothing more. Just like I also don't want to bring anything less. If my best today is 8, you not getting a 9. If my best today is 2, you not getting 2.5. You are going to get that good, solid 2. Whatever your best is, that's what I'm here to bring. I'm not trying to over it. I'm not going to under it. So that's me setting that bar, having that conversation with myself early in the morning, every morning. And then my favorite part, which is a lot of you all's favorite part, actually, so many people have favorite parts. The self-destructive is actually probably the one I hear the most about. And it's because it's unlike any other product that has this kind of thing that's having you do this every day. But, you know, my vision for the future helps me to connect with who I am, who I want to be, and what I want all in one. Like, that's all encompassed in this one box for me. You know, I write out the things that I'm working toward. I'm writing out things that feel not impossible, but like 2 coughs away from impossible, like very challenging, but I have the dream, I have the hope, I have the vision. I'm going to write it down and make it plain. But I write out the things that I'm working toward and what I want and how I want to feel. Like, I write about peace every day, because if you've heard me say this over and over, like, I value peace above almost everything else. If it costs me my peace, it's a no for me, right? I can't pay that. I can't afford that. It's outside of my budget, right? If it costs me my peace, it's outside of my budget. So some of the bigger things that I am working toward, I write that down. And it's a reminder for me all day long in making choices that are connected to my vision. If I've written this is what my vision is, I'm trying to make sure that what I'm doing can be connected to that. It's going to move me toward that, and not propel me in the opposite direction or keep me stagnant and still. So one thing, the last part is the one thing I'm going to do today that progresses me toward my vision for the future. That part is very small. And that part, I think, sometimes trips people up because they're thinking, well, I'm not doing a specific thing that works on this specific vision. Yes, you are. Every day you are. Every day we're doing something that's either keeping us still, moving us backwards, or moving us forward. Even if it's a millimeter. Is that the smallest one? A teeny little bit, right? And it doesn't have to be that specific. Like for me, some days it is, I'm going to ease into my week. And for me, easing into my week is a way I've set up my Mondays so that I can live a life of peace. And guess what? My vision for my life, not only now, but in the future, is to live a life of peace, to have a home that is peaceful. When people walk in, they feel the peace that is flowing in the atmosphere around me. And so when I set my life up now to experience peace on a daily basis, that's me doing something that is progressing me toward my vision for the future. So I know perhaps if you're not a Best Today Guide user and you've never heard of it, this may sound like, man, that takes forever to do every morning, but actually it doesn't. It takes minutes each day. And if I want to, I can sit and let it linger a little longer. And some mornings I do. Some mornings I want to write and then just think about the things I just wrote. Some mornings I just kind of want to use it as an opportunity to journal and get thoughts out on those pages. You get to make it what you want it to be, but it does not take long. It's all on one page again. But really it's the consistency and the repetition is what has the massive impact on the healthy view that I have of who I am, looking at my best and my self-destructive habits that I want to avoid. That's focused on like, who am I today? And then I think about who I want to become and what I want. And that's captured in that vision section and how I'm moving forward. And together, this one page really does help me every day to remember, this is who I am. This is what you are at your best. This is what you are when you're moving away from your best with the self-destructive. And here's the vision that you have for your future, Shantae. Here's what matters to you. Here's what you want. And you can get distracted really easily by the things that don't matter if you don't pay attention and remind yourself and surround yourself and write and say and think on the things that do. So that is why it's so important. One sheet of paper has so much power in it. Isn't that pretty cool? The power is actually in you. It just guides you in how to do it, which is why it's called the Best Today Guide, not the Best Today Planner or the Best Today Journal. It's a guide at its heart and at its core. And if you want to learn more about the Best Today Guide or order yours or see inside of it, go to besttodayguide.com. We have a page full of videos showing you inside. We have a page filled with reviews. We have video reviews, audio reviews. We have everything you need to make a decision. But don't waste time sitting on our website for hours on end. Look at the facts and get your Best Today Guide if you think it will help you to really be proactive and intentional with your time. But that's the first thing that I do. It's part of my morning routine is that Best Today morning practice every single morning. At Best Today, we exist to help women just like you be your best one today at a time. So each week on the podcast, we are going to highlight your stories and your voices. So let's see what's in the inbox today.
Hey Shantae, I ordered the Best Today Guide for January 2021, and I have found that previewing the week in advance, planning each day the evening before, and affirming the day of, has become a strength-finding tool for myself. I was recently offered a very nice promotion with the firm that I've been with for the last 8 years. And I really give credit to the Best Today Guide for pointing me in the right direction. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for sharing that, Kay. Now, what I love in particular about what she shared is that an opportunity approached her and she was in a position to be ready to receive it and to take it. I have lost count at how many people, particularly over the last year, have come to me and said, I either received my dream job, I applied for my dream job and actually received it, and I'm actually able to go and do the thing that I love because of being set up with the Best Today Guide, because of using the practices that you all teach in Right Now Routine. Having these things in my life has allowed me to make space for the things that I want to do, or has allowed me to show up so much differently at work because I'm showing up differently for myself in my real life. And as a result of that, work is taking notice and I've received this promotion. And so I hope you see this continuation of how our lives aren't these different boxes that don't overlap, that getting really clear on who you are, what you want, learning how to use the Best Today Guide 3-step process is going to pour over and have ripple effects in multiple areas of your life. And it always makes me so happy to hear people who say, once I started using this process, I noticed a difference in multiple areas in my life. It's that beautiful ripple effect. And if you want to understand more about the Best Today Guide or Right Now Routine or any of our resources, visit besttodayguide.com, which is also linked in today's show notes. But if you go to today's show notes, it's on besttodayguide.com. So we make it very easy. So visit besttodayguide.com to order your Best Today Guide or starter bundle today. I am so excited for you, Kay. Congratulations. And thank you again for sharing your story with us. If you'd like to share your story, I want to hear it. I personally listen to every single recording and voice message we receive. You can leave us a message today at besttodayguide.com/voice or on today's show notes at besttodayguide.com/20. I want to hear from you, so leave me a message. Thanks again, Kay, and congratulations. Number 2, I prioritize rest and play. So this is more of a habit than a routine in that I make it a habit daily to prioritize rest and play. I schedule my day around, or let me say it this way. The first things I schedule in my day are sleep and play, or rest and play, because sometimes rest is more than just sleeping. I prioritize those in my day, and that's why my days aren't jam-packed and why I'm not a fan of long to-do lists. It's because you can keep doing, but at some point, if you haven't set boundaries to protect space for rest and play, or insert the things that matter to you, rest and play matter to me, then what you're going to find yourself is getting so into all the things and all the doings that you don't have the space for the things that matter to you. And so one of the ways I stay connected to who I am and what I want is I prioritize the things that I want. And for me, rest and play must be a part of every single day. They don't have to be the same weight each day. They don't have to be the same even expressed way. So it may be play looks like this day and play looks like this day, but they have to be a part of my day. So for me, I get my sleep. When I talk about rest, sleep is, of course, important, but there are other forms of rest, and I'll talk about that. That might be its own episode, actually. But, I get my sleep at night. I make space for the things that are fun to me, even on the days where I work, and even on the days where work is really full. Today is one of those days where I'm sitting here batching these episodes of the podcast. It's a really full day for me, but there has to be rest and there has to be play in every single one of my days. Play, again, can look different in different ways. It could be make time for FaceTiming with a friend to laugh, to catch up, playing with my children, doing something fun that makes me laugh. It can even be a combination of where rest and play kind of coincide, where I sit down and say, I'm going to carve out 45 minutes to sit and read this book that I've been wanting to listen to or read, or podcast I want to listen to, and go for a walk, or whatever it is. I'm going to sit and color. That has been another thing that I've started to enjoy doing because it makes you sit and be still. So for me, for the most part, I really, really enjoy the work that I do. I would say 90% of what I do, I absolutely just really, really love and like. But I don't want to become, so here's where it gets important. Like, not only am I aware of who I want to become, I'm aware of who I don't want to become. I don't want to become someone who allows themselves to be defined by a title, by work that I do. I don't want to think that that's who I am, because I am clear on not only who I want to be, but who I don't want to become. And so I make decisions and choices that reflect what I want, and I protect myself from turning into a workaholic who believes that what I do makes me who I am. Because I've had, droplets of that in my life before. And I'm not going back. And so I set my life up in a way that doesn't allow that type of thinking to creep in. And one of the ways I have to do that is watching what I'm doing, what I'm putting, what I'm filling into my days. I need to check in with people who know me and love me for who I am. The people who knew me before I was any of the things that I am today, whether that's who knew me before I was a lawyer, who knew me before I was a wife, who knew me before I was a mother, who knew me before I was a business owner, who knew me before I was a successful business owner, who knew me before whatever, who just know me. And that's one of the ways that I have set up in my life to keep a boundary to ensure that I not only remain who I want to be, but I don't creep into becoming someone I do not want to be. Because both of those are important. And usually when we're doing the active work of becoming who we want, that's also doing the active work of preventing us from becoming who we want. But sometimes you have to do something on both of those ends. Don't miss that. Rewind it and listen to that sentence again. And as it relates to rest, I make sure I'm well rested so that my mind can function well. These things help me to remain clear on who I am and what I want, just continuing to understand, what do I want to prioritize? I prioritize my health. That's not one I wrote down, but it's also very, very true. And of course, because the Best Today Guide, when you're planning your day, the first thing you see at the top after your morning routine is what you're going to do for your mental, emotional, physical health. But prioritizing those things every day in a way that works for you will help you just in doing that, you are maintaining that relationship with yourself. You're reminding yourself who you want to be. I want to be healthy. I want to be mentally healthy. I want to be emotionally healthy. I want to be physically healthy. I want to be insert whatever that is for you. I want to live a life that prioritizes rest and play and my health. And so I do that. I do that now. I'm not saying, I'll do that when work isn't so full. I'll do that when I have more days of the week to work. I'll do that when my children aren't young. No, if I don't prioritize it in a way that works for the season I'm in, I'm not going to do it in future seasons, because there will always be a reason to say later, when this circumstance has changed, when this thing has changed. Wherever you are right now, you can prioritize the things that matter to you. It just may not look like the way you've idealized it or idolized it. Both of those actually, I think, work. But it may not look that way, but there is a way that you can do that. There is a way you can, if you can't get enough sleep at night and you don't have a newborn, because I understand, I've been there. Or you're not like a medical professional or a professional who's working all hours for a temporary period of time. You got to cut something out your day. Throw away the TVs, throw away the phone. I don't know how you're going to listen to this podcast, but y'all, you have to be able, I'm not going to tell you what to prioritize, but I will say everybody needs sleep. That's just a principle. That's not sleep. We all need it to live. So, but number 2 for me is that I prioritize rest and play as a daily habit and practice. I don't went on 4 different episodes, in that section. But yeah, the number 2 thing that I do every day is I prioritize rest and play as a daily habit, as a daily practice. And that's number 2. 1 more to go. Number 3, the third and last thing that I'm going to share today that I do every single day to help me remain clear on who I am, what I want, who I want to become, is I read and I write truth daily. Now, I talk a lot about surrounding yourself with truth and building a foundation of truth in your life. If you haven't listened to last week's episode 19, I would say stop listening to even this episode and go listen to that episode. It is one of my favorite episodes I've ever recorded, and it's also one of the shortest. It's 5 truths about you that I want you to remind yourself of every day. Please go back and listen to that episode if you haven't. Please. It really is one of the most important episodes I've ever recorded in the over 4 years that I've been podcasting. So, but reading and writing truth daily, and there's so many ways that can look for you, going back and listen to episode 19 and writing those 5 truths out every single day, writing them, saying them. But for me, with knowing how important truth is, and like I talked about in episode 19, it really becomes truth is a foundation that I build everything upon. It's also a shield. It is also empowering. Truth it fights against so many things, lies, for instance. So I have to include them in my daily life. And really, one of my goals is to have even more time with every passing day and every different season for more time for truth. And for me, that looks like starting my day every day. Again, a part of my morning routine. It's the second time I've talked about something that's in my morning routine, but for me, mornings are really important in how I set the tone for my day. So that looks like reading scripture, writing scripture, and meditating on scripture, which just means I'm sitting and thinking about the words that I have read and written and understanding what they mean for me, how it applies to me, what that tells me about me. It reminds me of who I am, the truth about me, the truth about my life, and it gives me perspective. I dwell on truth. I want to listen to songs that are reiterating truth. I want to be around people who are reiterating truth, right? I want to, if I'm going to be on social, which I'm not for non-work, but if I were a person who used social media in my regular life, non-work life, I would want to be following or surrounded by accounts that are constantly propelling truth because it's that important. I dwell on truth so that I can remember who I am, so I can remember that I am free to dream big and have desires, that I can remind myself that I am important. All the things I talked about in episode 19, so I can remind myself the truth of the fact that I am loved, I am needed, I am important, I am really important. Like you are really important. It's like the truths about myself, I am capable. So for me, it's almost like a nutrient that you have to keep taking, because it's not like, oh, I took it once, but as we go throughout life is like constantly beating some of that out of us. Or it's almost like, when you sweat, it's sweating some of the things that you've put in. So you have to refuel yourself. So for me, it's a daily refueling. And sometimes I need not just morning, noon, night, like meals that we need. Like that is how much we need truth. And so you have to, wherever your source of truth is or your sources of truth, surround yourself with the truth about who you are. Because the lies are already surrounding you, whether you intentionally place yourself around it or not. You living in the world, in a culture and a society of people, particularly today when we have more coming at us in so many different ways, you are being hit with lies a lot. And so you are being hit with misperceptions a lot and things that can distort your view of yourself and how you think you should feel. And you should have this. Oh, you should want this. Oh, you don't want this. Oh, you don't want to be a business owner. Then you must want to work for the man all the time. Like that lie, like all the lies that are being perpetuated in society. If you don't build yourself up on some truth and what you actually want and who you want to be and what you know to be true for you, you're going to be out here just dizzy because you're going to be pulled all kinds of ways, right? So that's why truth is so important. And so my question for you is, what is it that grounds you in truth? Do you incorporate that in your day to day? And if so, how? I really do want to hear. So make sure to leave me a message at besttodayguide.com/voice, which is also linked in today's show notes at besttodayguide.com/20. The button to leave me a message is both in today's show notes. We always keep it in the show notes as well. So those are my three. Those are three things that I do daily to really help me be clear and remain clear on who I am, who I want to be, and what I want. There's the Best Today practice is a part of my morning routine. Reading and writing scripture is a part of my morning routine, and also incorporated throughout my day, afternoon, evenings, as often as needed. Is habits. When I think about habits, my habit of prioritizing rest and play, and I'll add in my health. Those are things that I prioritize every day. They really, really make a difference. And, these things, these daily things, at first glance may not seem to have a big impact, but remember, it's that the small, consistent things that we do have more impact than the things you do on occasion. The small, consistent things that we do have more impact than the things we do on occasion. I did say that twice on purpose. So now I am turning the question over to you. What do you do? What are your daily habits, routines, or practices that help you to remain connected to who you are, who you want to become, and what you want? I want to hear from you. So leave me a message. Again, let's have a conversation, because this podcast is a conversation. I'm that friend who came and just did all the talking, And then I stop and be like, so what you think about that? So here's me asking you, so what you think about that? You can leave your response at besttodayguide.com/voice or in today's show notes at besttodayguide.com/20 or send us a DM over on Instagram at the Best Today brand. I want to hear from you. Thank you so much for being present with me for this week's episode of the Best Today podcast. Until next time, remember that you are capable and worthy of being your best one today at a time. And you have everything you need to have everything you want. So go on and shout it out as you live it out. This is what my best today looks like. Talk to you on the next episode. If you enjoyed this week's episode of the Best Today podcast, you are going to love the Best Today Guide. Our Better Than a Planner guide teaches you how to get clear on what you want, identify your self-destructive habits and behaviors, and intentionally create space to prioritize yourself every single day. Don't go the journey to being your best one today at a time without the Best Today Guide. See inside its pages and order yours today at besttodayguide.com. Even better, when you order the Best Today Guide, we gift you with your first month free inside of the Best Today membership. So what are you waiting for? We're giving you everything you need to trade busy for intention. Go to besttodayguide.com and order yours today and join thousands of women across the globe proclaiming each day, this is what my best today looks like.